Welcome back to the Garage, gang. And if you're new here, buckle up because this is Token Teardown, Dyno-Test certified. This is where we bring your favorite crypto projects into the garage, lift them up, and test if they're a precision-tuned BMW M-Beast built for the Autobahn, or a Weekend Warriors half-finished project held together with zip ties and hype. And today, oh boy, we've got a wild one. We're talking Zcash, ticker ZEC, the OG privacy coin that just shot out of the garage and straight into the spotlight. It's the talk of crypto Twitter right now. Privacy narratives screaming, charts ripping, and everyone arguing whether this is a real comeback or just another hype cycle burnout. Zcash has been around for years, but suddenly the old dog showing new tricks, volume spiking, wallets moving, influencers yelling privacy season like it's 2017 all over again. So we're doing what we do best, breaking it down to see what's actually under the hood. What's powering this run? Who built it? And is this rally built on torque or just turbo noise? Before we drop the clutch and meet the crew that engineered it, shout out to Triple X, the pit lane maniac pulling on-chain receipts, liquidity charts, and every rabbit hole so this teardown actually rips. He's the reason we can call projects what they are. No fluff, just facts. And yeah, we'll talk price scenarios because I know that's everybody's favorite lane. But first, we see what this thing's made of, who built it, why it matters, and whether it belongs on the track or on Facebook Marketplace with needs work in the title. So, if your feed's been blowing up with ZEC to the moon takes, smash that like, hit follow, and send this to the group chat before somebody claims they called it early. Because in this garage, we don't chase headlines, we pop the hood and show receipts, breaking crypto down so everyone gets it, from the node runner to the night shift hustler, looking for a better way out of the matrix. Let's lift it, look under the hood, and get to work. All right, before we talk about the car, let's meet the mechanics who built it. Front of the shop, Zuko Wilcox O'Hearn, the founder, an OG cypherpunk who's been building privacy tech since floppy disks were a thing. He created Tahoe LAFS, helped define Zuko's triangle in digital identity, and spent decades chasing one goal: real privacy on the internet. He's the guy who made Zcash possible, the original engineer who turned cryptographic theory into a drivable machine. Running the garage now is Josh Swihart, the new CEO of the Electric Coin Company, the factory that maintains Zcash. He's not your typical dev. He's a growth mechanic. Scaled software firms like Aspenware and K2, and now he's focused on bringing Zcash to mainstream users. Better wallets, faster on-ramps, and actual adoption beyond crypto Twitter threads. Next up, Dyra Hopwood, the quiet assassin of cryptography. She's the engineer behind Zcash's biggest upgrades, Sapling and Halo, the reason shielded transactions went from slow and bulky to fast and practical. 2 decades in software security. She's the one blueprinting the pistons inside this privacy engine. Then there's Aaron Tromer, a cryptographer and one of the scientists behind Zerocash, the research prototype that evolved into Zcash itself. He laid the mathematical foundation for zero-knowledge proofs. Without him, this entire engine doesn't ignite. Dmitry Kavratovich, co-inventor of Equihash, built Zcash's proof-of-work mining algorithm, the code that keeps its network balanced and decentralized. He's also a security researcher who has audited some of the biggest crypto protocols out there, the kind of guy you want tuning your fuel mixture. On the governance side, Zaki Manian, from Cosmos and IBC fame, sits on the board making sure consensus stays tight, while Alan Fairless handles oversight under the Bootstrap project umbrella, keeping the whole operation road legal and funded. This crew is no meme coin Discord team. These are researchers, engineers, and cryptographers with racing pedigrees and PhD-level toolboxes. They've been under the hood since before most of crypto had a garage. All right, now that you've met the crew, let's talk about what they actually built. Zcash is what happens when you take Bitcoin's battle-tested frame and bolt on a stealth system from the future. It's digital cash, same hard cap, same proof-of-work security, but with one big difference: privacy you control. Here's the deal. Every normal blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, you name it, runs with a glass hood. Every transaction, wallet address, and balance is visible to anyone with a block explorer. That's cool for transparency, but terrible for privacy. You pay your freelancer, send a donation, move funds between wallets. Everyone can see it. Zcash fixes that by giving you two gears: transparent mode, where everything's public, like Bitcoin; shielded mode, where the details stay private: who sent it, who received it, and how much moved, all hidden behind encryption. The magic comes from something called zero-knowledge proofs, math so wild it lets the network confirm your transaction is valid without ever revealing what's inside it. That's like proving your car passed inspection without anyone opening the hood. It's verifiable, but private. Why does that matter? Because privacy isn't crime, it's control. In the real world, you don't hand out your bank statement to strangers just to prove you paid rent. In crypto, that's exactly what most blockchains do. They leak everything by default. Zcash flips the script. It says your money, your business. For companies, that means confidential payrolls, supplier payments, or cross-border transfers without exposing pricing. For regular users, it means freedom, being able to transact, donate, or store value without becoming someone's data point. Zcash didn't invent privacy, it industrialized it. It's the first blockchain to make zero-knowledge cryptography usable in the wild. Not just a white paper fantasy, but a real engine running live since 2016. So why do we need it? Because every bull run gets louder, every chain gets busier, and personal privacy keeps getting stripped away in the noise. Zcash is the countermove, the silent car on the loudest track. Zcash might ride on Bitcoin's old school frame, but that's where the similarities end. Underneath, it's running one of the most advanced cryptographic engines in the entire space, zero-knowledge technology. That's what gives Zcash its stealth mode. While most blockchains are built like glass engine hoods, every transaction, every wallet, fully exposed, Zcash swapped that for something smarter. It uses what's called ZK snarks, short for zero-knowledge, succinct, non-interactive arguments of knowledge. Sounds complex, but here's the idea in plain English. It's math that lets you prove a transaction is valid without revealing who sent it, who received it, or how much moved. The network sees the math, verifies the rules, but never learns the story behind it. Think of it like showing proof that your car passed inspection without letting anyone look under the hood. The result is a system that stays verifiable but private. For the more technical crowd, every shielded transaction in Zcash generates a cryptographic proof. That proof confirms the sender owns the inputs, that no double spending occurs, and that the total balances check out. The nodes can verify that proof in milliseconds, but they never see the sender, receiver, or amount. That's what makes it succinct and non-interactive. Small, one-way, airtight. The blockchain still uses proof of work to stay secure, running on a mining algorithm called Equihash. It's a design by Dmitry Kovratovich, tuned to keep mining decentralized and prevent a handful of industrial players from taking over. The result is a privacy chain that still runs with the raw power and trust model of Bitcoin. Now, over the years, this engine hasn't just been maintained, it's been completely rebuilt. The first major overhaul came with the sapling upgrade back in 2018. That one stripped weight off private transactions, reducing the memory and time it took to process them from minutes to seconds. Suddenly, privacy became usable at scale. Then came Heartwood in 2020, giving miners their own stealth mode so they could receive rewards privately. The same year, Canopy restructured governance with a new developer fund to keep research and upgrades permanently fueled. But the real leap came in 2022 with NU5 and the Halo Arc upgrade. That's where Zcash introduced recursive Halo 2 proofs, a self-verifying cryptographic system that removed the need for what's called a trusted setup. In simple terms, it means Zcash can now verify itself forever, without any human dependency or risk of tampering. It's cleaner, faster, and completely autonomous. Each of those milestones wasn't just a patch. They were full engine swaps, better performance, smoother ride, less drag on the network. The chassis stayed the same, but the drivetrain got meaner every time. And here's the kicker. The technology Zcash pioneered didn't stay in Zcash. The same zero-knowledge proof systems now power Ethereum's rollups. Polygon ZK EVM, ZK Sync, Starknet, all those modern scaling chains that claim to use ZK tech, they're running with concepts born in the Zcash lab. So when people call Zcash old, they're missing the story. It's the car that proved zero knowledge could even drive, the first to hit the track with a working privacy engine. Everyone else is still tuning their versions. Zcash's drivetrain is battle-tested, mathematically proven, and still one of the most efficient privacy motors in all of crypto. It's stealth, speed, and security, all running in sync. Now that we know what kind of engine Zcash is running, let's talk about the fuel system that keeps it alive, the part everyone calls tokenomics. If you're new to crypto, don't let that word throw you off. Tokenomics is just the study of how the money side of a project works. How many coins exist, who gets them, how they're released, and what makes them gain or lose value over time. Think of it as the financial blueprint under the hood. It tells you whether a project's running on premium gas or cheap blend. Zcash runs on a proof-of-work system, the same basic foundation as Bitcoin. Every new block is mined by computers solving complex puzzles. That process secures the network and mints new coins as rewards. But the way those rewards are divided and how many coins exist, that's where Zcash's fuel system gets interesting. There will only ever be 21 million ZEC in existence. That's hard capped, just like Bitcoin. No hidden inflation, no secret mint button. When the last one is mined, that's it. Right now, roughly 15 million are already in circulation, so more than 2/3 of the total supply is already on the road. That means less new fuel hitting the tank every year. The mining reward is split between 3 lines. Most of it, about 80%, goes to the miners. The pit crew keeping the network secure. The remaining slice, around 20%, flows to development funds, the Electric Coin Company, the Zcash Foundation, and community grants. That's called the Dev Fund. Think of it as the project's research and development gas can, keeping the engineers paid and upgrades coming without relying on venture capital. Every 4 years, Zcash goes through what's called a halving. The block reward gets cut in half, just like Bitcoin. The first halving in 2020 dropped rewards from 12.5 ZEC to 6.25. The next one in 2024 cut it again to 3.125. Each time that happens, the amount of new ZEC entering circulation slows down. Less new fuel, more scarcity. That's why halvings tend to get traders excited. When supply tightens and demand rises, prices often react fast. Zcash doesn't have staking or passive yield. It's old school. If you want new coins, you have to mine them, run the rigs, pay the power bill, earn your keep. It's built for the proof-of-work crowd, not for the point-and-click DeFi farmers. For beginners, just picture it this way. Zcash tokenomics are like a limited edition car build. There will only ever be 21 million of them. Each halving means fewer fresh ones rolling off the line. As demand grows, the existing supply becomes more valuable because there just aren't many left sitting on the lot. That built-in scarcity is what gives Zcash its long-term potential. The emissions keep dropping, the tech keeps improving, and the privacy narrative keeps heating up. When you combine limited fuel with rising attention, you get torque. And lately, that's exactly what's been happening with ZEC. Now, it's one thing to build a powerful privacy engine, but that only matters if somebody's actually driving it. So who's really using Zcash? When it first launched, Zcash was a niche project. Its early drivers were cryptographers, privacy advocates, and a few hardcore miners who believed the internet needed financial confidentiality. For years, it stayed in that lane, respected but quiet. That's changed. Over the last several months, activity on the chain has started to pick up again. More shielded addresses are in use, meaning more people are choosing the private transaction mode instead of the transparent one. On-chain data shows the number of shielded transfers climbing, and that's a strong sign the privacy narrative isn't just hype. People are actually using it. Institutional interest is creeping back in too. As regulations around data privacy tighten worldwide, companies are exploring how to move value without exposing client information. Zcash's selective disclosure feature, which lets you prove compliance without revealing private data, has caught attention from fintech groups and developers working on privacy-focused payments. And here's where it gets interesting. The technology Zcash pioneered, those zero-knowledge proofs, are now used everywhere. Ethereum's Layer 2s, Polygon's ZK EVM, ZK Sync, Starknet, all of them run on variations of the cryptography Zcash helped invent. So even when people aren't directly using ZEC, they're using Zcash's ideas every time they touch a zero-knowledge system. Retail traders have come back too. As privacy becomes a hot topic again, coins like ZEC, Monero, and Secret are showing up in the same conversation. Zcash, in particular, benefits from being the most recognized privacy brand still active on major exchanges. It's not just an old relic, It's the brand name everyone remembers when privacy season starts trending. That's why it's been ripping lately. It's not just speculation, it's narrative flow. People are rediscovering that privacy isn't just a side feature, it's the foundation of financial freedom. And when that narrative starts trending, Zcash is one of the first cars off the line. There's still work to do: wallets, integrations, mobile experience, but adoption is moving in the right direction. For a project that's been around since 2016, it's impressive to see it's still in the race, especially as new privacy projects keep popping up and fading just as fast. So yes, there are real users, real activity, and a story that's starting to sound familiar. When the market remembers why privacy matters, Zcash is always the one leading the lap. Every build has weak points, and Zcash is no exception. For all the power under the hood, there are a few issues that could slow it down if the team or the market doesn't stay sharp. The first one's regulation. Privacy coins have always made governments and exchanges nervous. When you give people the ability to send money without exposing who they are or how much they're moving, regulators start worrying about money laundering and compliance risk. That's why exchanges in certain regions have delisted or restricted privacy coins in the past. Zcash gives users the choice between transparent and shielded transactions, which makes it more flexible than something like Monero, but it still carries that same spotlight risk. If regulators decide to tighten the rules again, liquidity could dry up fast. The second challenge is adoption. For years, Zcash has been known for having brilliant tech, but not enough users. It's like having a supercar that only a few mechanics know how to drive. Shielded transactions require compatible wallets, and while progress has been made, user experience still isn't plug and play. Most casual crypto users don't even realize privacy is an option they can control. That's slowly changing, as wallets like YWallet and Zcash make private sends easier, but there's still a gap between what's possible and what's actually being used. Next comes perception. When most people hear privacy coin, they think dark markets or tax evasion. It's an unfair label, but it sticks. In reality, privacy has the same purpose here that it does in everyday life. Not secrecy, but security. The challenge for Zcash is shaking that old stigma while staying true to its mission. Competition is another concern. The privacy field has grown. Projects like Monero, Secret Network, and even new rollups on Ethereum are experimenting with private transactions and encrypted smart contracts. Zcash has the first mover advantage and the strongest cryptography, but it can't afford to coast on legacy. If the next generation of privacy solutions manages to integrate faster or go fully cross-chain, Zcash will need to evolve quickly to keep its edge. Then there's mining pressure. Because Zcash is proof of work, miners need to stay profitable. If Zcash's price drops too far below electricity costs, some miners will shut down rigs. That can thin out network security. It's the same problem Bitcoin faces during bear markets. If rewards don't justify the power bill, the hash rate dips until difficulty adjusts. Finally, there's communication. The team behind Zcash has always been more technical than promotional. That's good for integrity, but bad for visibility. In a market that rewards noise as much as innovation, projects that don't market themselves risk being forgotten, no matter how good the engineering is. The Electric Coin Company has started improving its outreach and wallet design, but there's still work to do if Zcash wants to win over the next wave of users. None of these are deal breakers, but they're the things that could blow a gasket if left unchecked. Zcash has survived almost a decade in one of the harshest environments in tech. It's battle-tested, but the road ahead still demands constant tuning. All right, we're finally here. The part you've been waiting for. Show me the money. Yeah, it's price prediction time. But before we start tossing out numbers, we need to paint the full picture because everything depends on the size of the track we're racing on. Right now, the total crypto market sits at about $3.49 trillion. That's the pit lane we're starting from. But if the next bull cycle runs hot, analysts are already eyeing 20 trillion as the next major milestone for the entire market. That's the highway we're about to open up on. Zcash right now is sitting at $635 a coin with a market cap just over 10 billion and about 16 million coins on the road. That's our baseline. So let's open up 3 lanes and finish with the black swan to see what happens as the market expands. First up, cruise control. In this lane, Zcash doesn't grab new attention. It just rides the wave with the rest of the market, keeping its current market share. Right now, it holds roughly 0.29% of global crypto value. If it simply keeps that share in a $20 trillion world, the math puts its market cap around $58 billion. Divide that by 16 million circulating coins, and you're looking at roughly $3,500 per ZEC. That's your steady climb. No hype, no drama, just going along for the ride. Now let's bump it to the next lane, the mild boost. Here, the privacy narrative grows stronger. People start waking up to how public blockchains really are. Wallets add privacy layers, and Zcash gains a little more traction. Let's say its share doubles to around 0.5% of the total market. At 20 trillion, that's a market cap near $100 billion, putting ZEC in the neighborhood of $6,100 per coin. That's the moderate win. The coin proves its worth, gets new integrations, and picks up speed without overheating. And then we've got the full send, the privacy breakout. In this version, privacy goes mainstream. Regulation finds balance, exchanges relist shielded coins, and users finally start demanding confidentiality again. Zcash, as the proven name with real zero-knowledge infrastructure, leads the charge. If it captures even 1% of a $20 trillion market, which would still keep it smaller than today's Ethereum, that's a market cap around $200 billion. At that level, you're looking at roughly $12,000 per ZEC. That's the nitrous lane, the moment the privacy narrative goes from niche to necessity. But in the garage, we don't deal in hopium, we deal in reality. So let's talk about the black swan. Something breaks. A coordinated privacy crackdown hits. Regulators go after shielded tech, or a zero-knowledge exploit rattles confidence across the board. Liquidity dries up overnight. If Zcash were forced back to a $2 billion market cap, that would drag price down near $120 per coin. The full stall-out scenario. That's the complete picture. Scenario 1, steady climb to 3,500. Scenario 2, moderate boost to 6 grand. Scenario 3, full breakout near 12. And at the bottom, a regulatory crash that could send it back into triple digits. That's what we do here. We don't just talk potential, we talk probability. Because in this garage, we don't sell dreams, we test engines. Now wait 1 second. Before you start aping into Zcash with your life savings, I need to say something first. None of this is financial advice. And probably the biggest factor in any teardown we do here in the garage comes from the head of technical analysis, Lulu. If you're new here, yes, she's one of the best chart readers I've ever seen. But before you start repeating her calls in your group chat, you should know, Lulu is a pig. 4 hooves, curly tail, great snoot. She doesn't trade, she just sniffs out the truth. So if you're taking trading advice from a pig, that's on you. We're just here to analyze and keep it real. All right, time for the garage verdict, the final Dyno-Test. Zcash has proven itself through almost a decade of volatility. It's one of the few projects that's more about real cryptography than marketing noise. But every car on the track has strengths and weaknesses. So let's break down exactly why it scores the way it does. Technology and innovation, 9 out of 10. This is Zcash's crown jewel. It pioneered zero-knowledge proofs, tech that's now used across Ethereum rollups, Polygon, and ZK Sync. With upgrades like Halo 2 eliminating the old trusted setup, Zcash's privacy engine is cleaner, faster, and more advanced than almost anything else on the road. Team and credibility, 9 out of 10. The people behind it are the real deal. Zuko Wilcox, Dara Hopwood, Aaron Tromer, all heavyweights in cryptography and privacy research. They're not influencers or opportunists. They're scientists and engineers who've been shipping code for years. No scandals, no vaporware, just steady innovation. Adoption, 6 out of 10. Here's where the traction slips a little. The tech is elite, but the average user still struggles with it. Not enough wallets, support shielded transactions, and the user experience can feel like driving a race car in city traffic. Powerful, but intimidating. Zcash needs simpler tools to bring privacy to everyday users. Regulatory risk, 4 out of 10. This is the biggest risk under the hood. Privacy coins make regulators nervous, and exchanges have delisted them before. Even though Zcash offers optional transparency, it still lives under that shadow. All it would take is one overreaching policy or enforcement wave to make it harder to access. That's the pothole that could crack a rim. Community and longevity, 8 out of 10. Zcash has one of the most loyal and principled communities in crypto. It's not the loudest, but it's full of real builders, researchers, and long-term believers. 9 years in this space is an eternity, and through all the noise, forks, bears, regulation, it's still here, still funded, and still shipping. That counts. Add it all up, and Zcash walks out of the garage with a total score of 7.5 out of 10. That's tuned up and worth watching. It's not a hype car. It's a precision-built privacy machine designed to go the distance. If the world decides privacy matters again, this one's already warmed up on the starting line. If not, it'll keep idling quietly, solid, ready, and waiting for the next lap. And before we roll out, if you like the way we break this stuff down, check out our site, gurucryptogarage.guru. It's free. It's our way of giving back to the community. Market breakdowns, token teardowns, and daily insight from the same garage crew that builds these shows. So that's the Dyno-Test. Zcash, stealth, strong, and still ahead of its time. If you made it this far, hit like, share it with your crew, and drop the next project you want us to throw on the lift. Because in this garage, we don't chase hype, we test engines, read charts, and show you what's real. And as always, let it rip.